Good morning, dear listeners. Today we come to the next podcast about Tibetan medicine and the explanation of Tibetan medicine as an ancient medical system. And basically, Tibetan medicine integrates human physiology and psychology with also Buddhist philosophy, astrology, and the knowledge of the five elements. And this is unique and very important, somewhat similar to Ayurvedic medicine in many ways, but also unique in some other ways. And similarities are also found with Chinese medicine. So we're going to talk a little bit more of the particularities of Tibetan medicine. So basically, according to Tibetan medicine, everything has its origin in the mind, which is basically the source of internal and external phenomena, and the five elements, which constitutes physical reality. So this is more like an ontological, philosophical view, but it's integrated into the medicine. Unlike Western systems, where every branch is separated from other branches. So one has medicine, and then one has science, and then one has philosophy, and also astrology for the people that believe in astrology. In the Tibetan system, everything is integrated in one body of knowledge. So according to Buddhism, the mind is like a pure, timeless source. We're not going to much details in this because this is not the topic, but just to give a very broad introduction. So mind is the source, and it's a timeless field of pure being, and from it, from the not knowing of this comes what is called the not knowing, or ignorance, the not knowing of reality by its own awareness. So reality doesn't know itself, and from this pure state we have the formation of sentient beings and universes and karma, and this mind accompanies in a subtle form all sentient beings. And there is also what is called a sort of subtle wind element, which is the energy which drives the mind at this point once one is born as a sentient being. It's like a vehicle, the subtle wind element, and is responsible for health very much, and it's also the cause of diseases in human beings, and this is very much related to the mind, because the mind has this primal sort of emotional conflicts of attachments, anger, and closed-mindedness, which is sort of a kind of not knowing. So this fundamental state, according to Tibetan medicine, the absolute condition of the mind is empty and perfect in itself, but it manifests itself in the three aspects of body, speech, and mind of sentient beings. And these are reflected in the human body in the form of three humors, or energies, or sort of essential energies, called wind, in Tibetan lung, bile, in Tibetan tripa, which is the bile, and phlegm, in Tibetan Badken, phlegm. So wind, bile, and phlegm. And these three humors, which are driven by the three main emotional energies of attachment, anger, and closed-mindedness, govern all biological, psychological, and psychopathological emotional functions of the individual body, speech, mind of the person, of the human being. And they're responsible for the tissue production, maintenance, aging, elimination of waste, energy flow, and they sustain life. So these humors basically are not bad in themselves, because when they're balanced, life sort of flows. Of course, it's a non-optimal life because it's based on the not knowing of the nature of reality, but nevertheless the humors of wind, bile, and phlegm, when they are balanced and they don't, they're not in conflict, they maintain health, so that's harmony of the system. But they can be easily disbalanced, and by many causes, which could be like mental level causes, like an excessive attachment, emotional attachment, greed, or an excessive anger emotion, and an excessive closed-mindedness of lethargy or total sleepiness, and or by environmental causes, of course, by external factors, by general behavior, by habits, and by diet. So many things can disrupt the three humors of the human body. So by re-harmonizing the three humors, we have the theory and practice of Tibetan medicine. So in my book, Cures Without Side Effects, there are many details about the three humors. We're not going to talk about it here because it's a very long topic, but many details are explained in the three humors, and they resemble somewhat the three humors in Ayurvedic medicine. So that's for people that know already Ayurvedic medicine, and then we have this what is called the 7 constitutions, and these constitutions we also have in somewhat in a different way in Western medicine. We have something called the 4 constitutions, but the 7 constitutions here are the 3 single principal constitutions of wind, bile, and phlegm. And then this can be also influenced by also parents' diet and behavior when one is growing up. But then this can combine, and they can make 2 combined humors. For example, wind, bile, person, wind, phlegm, bile, phlegm. And then there is also the 7th, which is a balanced constitution made of all the 3 humors in a balanced way. So here we have again the wind constitution. We're not going to speak about all the details because this is a long topic. Again, it can be found in my book, but we could just say that the wind constitution are usually people that have a kind of thin body, quite thin. They have small sized fingers and short extremities. They're sensitive to cold, wind in general. They're very sort of nervous type, talkative, but a little bit nervous on the side of nervousness, and they have trouble sleeping, for example, and they have emotional instability. So this is just a few. There are many more. Much more information about these, and then we have the bile constitution, which is medium-sized body parts, and sort of a stable mind, yellowish or reddish skin. Basically, this is more to do with the element of fire, and people like this have a tendency to sweat, and they're very much sensitive to high temperature, for example, and then we have the phlegm constitution, which produces a somewhat larger body with whitish skin, smooth and moist. This is the nature of water, whereas the bile constitution was the nature of fire and wind constitution is obviously the nature of air. So this phlegm constitution, it's basically people that easily put on weight, and body temperature is usually low, digestion is slow, and they're quite they have great patience to difficulties, unlike the wind constitution, which is very much impatient. So this is just a few characteristics. We're not going into much more details. And we have the last four constitutions of wind and bile, wind and phlegm, bile and phlegm, etc. We're not going to discuss it because it's all information that can be easily found in my book. And then we have the diet in Tibetan medicines, which can be adjusted to different types of imbalances according to whether the affliction is hot or cold in nature. So if the affliction is a wind or a phlegm or a bile, hot or cold, the nature of fire or water or air, according to the three humors basically. And generally a nutritionally balanced and natural diet, low in fats, meat and alcohol in moderation, with no extremes of taste such as highly sweetened or highly salted meals. It's usually recommended, but obviously this has to be tailored to each individual characteristic of the constitution. Then we have the Tibetan medicine, we have the behavioural lifestyle, which is each person constitutional typology. Again, certain individuals should avoid extremes of temperature according to their principal constitutions. And we have medicinal treatments in Tibetan medicines, which can be formulated according to two guiding principles, according to taste and according to potency. And so this can take the form of pills, powders, decoction, concentrates, creams, lotions, oils, and especially massage oils. For what is called the Kunye massage. It's a traditional Tibetan medical massage which can be used in prevention of disease as well as treating, and there are specific acupressure points, meridians, somewhat similar to the Chinese system, and the use of herbal oils. Then we have the moxibustion, which is the heating therapy, which utilizes some sort of herb, which is dried, crushed, and formed into a cone that is burned and applied over specific points in order to provide heat for different conditions. And this should be done by a physician, obviously. And this is part of external therapies especially for cold conditions, digestive problems, poor circulations. Then the last is the cupping, which employs copper cups applied to painful areas in order to relieve the pain and energetic blockages. So this is just an overall sort of a description of Tibetan medicines. There is much more to it, and it's very interesting for whoever is interested in discovering new types of therapies. Okay, thank you for listening, and in the next chapter of the podcast, we'll talk about homeopathy. Thank you for listening.